In our profession, with the right knowledge and experience, the sky's the limit. And whilst we know the letters after your name or your statement of professional standing are important signs of standards, professionalism and trust, it's not all we're about. We're also focused on our members' development by giving you access to a community of like-minded professionals, all bound by the same code of ethics. There's good practice guides, technical papers, PFS Power, and so much more great content to facilitate your CPD, like hundreds of regular face-to-face meetings and digital events, making it easy to stay on top of industry trends and to network with members all over the country. And with membership, you can work towards chartered status for a place amongst the experts in your field. If you have knowledge to share or want to learn, you can sign up to our e-mentoring platform to connect and exchange ideas and support. And not forgetting the perks. Save on a range of products and services, or access our legal helpline for free confidential advice. Get more from your membership today.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning for the third and final session of our LinkedIn series. This morning, Aska is going to be talking to us about how to use LinkedIn for networking, and we're going to tie together some of the things that we've talked about and learned from the first two sessions that we did about building your profile on LinkedIn and also how to develop some really good content. If you didn't get a chance to catch the first two sessions, they are available for you on the PFS Power website, and there's also a link to them in the resources section today. If you're struggling to find them, please let us know and we can share the link with you. So really looking forward to today's session. So Aska, to get us started, can you give us a bit of a taster on what you're going to be covering this morning?
Yeah, today's going to be really, really exciting, and welcome. So we're going to be talking about how to network on LinkedIn. It's not that different than the real world, but of course there are some differences. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to make sure you get to network and really reap all the benefits from this amazing platform where you can so easily reach people from all around the globe. So I'm excited to try to help you reach more people and broaden your network.
Sounds really good, thank you. Just a couple of housekeeping bits to let you know. The webinar is being recorded this morning and will be available later on today for you on the Power website. So don't worry about taking photos, making notes, etc. It will be all there for you to access later on. There is a Q&A box for you to ask any questions during the session. Please feel free to add these as and when they come up, and Aska will pick up the questions at the end. The questions are fully private and confidential, so nobody can see what you've written, so please feel free to type in whatever you want to know. We had some really great questions on the last session, so no pressure, but let's have some good questions today. That's it from me, so I'm going to hand you over to Aska to get started with the session this morning.
All right, thank you, Sarah. So let's get the first slide on. So yeah, this three-part webinar series is called Get Success on LinkedIn. So my promise to you at the first webinar, also the second, and now the third one is you can get success on LinkedIn. It's not rocket science. It doesn't have to take ages. It will probably take a little bit of a time, you know, but it doesn't have to be years. It's more like weeks, months. So if you implement the things that I suggest, I am very, very confident that you will get success. And of course, what success looks like for you is different than maybe to another person. So tweak the things I say, but what you're getting here is really three really, really strong pillars to move you forward and get success, whether that means more clients, more network, or just learning a bunch of stuff. So if you're not feeling 100% confident, I say jump in, give it a try, and I believe in you because you can do this. And with that said, let's hop on and just review what we have talked about, because you need all three things in order to get success on LinkedIn. At least if you want to have massive success, you can still have some success, I would say, with 2 out of 3. But if you implement all three, it's like it works just so much better. So the first one is, of course, make a great profile. It's not a one-off, but it's more like you do it once and then you kind of update it slightly and you can tweak a few things. So it's, put in that work, get it done. And then last time we talked about content, which really ties in well with networking, because people will believe more in you, they will trust you more. And yeah, they work well together, making content and networking. So potentially you also probably want to network more with people that put out content. So if you have a profile that's not completely done and you never post content, well, what's really the reason to network on LinkedIn? Maybe that should be on another platform, or call people. So, if you see people's content, there's a better chance that that person was really interested. Yeah, let me get back to him. So put out content in order to also increase your network. So it's a kind reminder that you're still there. So with that said, let's jump right into it. Kind of the overview of today. So I've taken here a mountain. And so some of the things we're going to cover is how to connect with people on LinkedIn, and how can you collaborate with people, and how can you potentially convert them to customers. And your overall goal, the thing you should be aiming after, is to get them to know you, like, and trust. If you can hit those three, yeah, there's a very, very good chance you're going to succeed with a collaboration, or convert them into a client, or get some sort of value. And the interesting thing about LinkedIn is you never know what comes out of it. There can be so many beautiful things that come along the way. And you can see two people here. And I think there's a good metaphor in it. If you can find somebody to, walk with you up the mountain. I know you have such a strong group here. So maybe some of the members better than others. Maybe you could reach out and say, hey, okay, I haven't done my profile. Let's, be accountable to each other, set a deadline for when to get it done, or you can, give each other feedback on it and move each other up that way. Or talk about with the people in your group here, how did you get to collaborate with other people? How did you reach out to them? Did you actually get some clients? Because when I first started, I was like, is it really even possible to get clients from LinkedIn? And yes, it is. It does take a little bit of work. It does take a little bit of consistency, but it's possible. And I know some people that get almost all their clients from LinkedIn. So with that said, you will reap more benefits the more you move up. But think about one thing, that is just to make them know you, get them to like you and trust you. So trust will also come through your messaging, through your content. And of course, if you never put out anything or reach out to people, how are they going to know you? So let's talk a little bit about that today. So I've taken this one. Why should you network on LinkedIn? And what I find so beautiful about LinkedIn, and for that matter, the internet, is the whole world is your playground. You can collaborate with people all over the world. You can find your exact niche. You don't have to be confined to the village, the country, or region you're in. And there's so many people putting out different content, so you can learn a lot. You can get so inspired from these. Personally, I've learned a lot from people. So for me, LinkedIn is more like a teaser. I see a small video, I read an article, and then that makes me maybe dive more into a topic. It's not where I consume like long articles or books. This is not what LinkedIn is for. It's just, getting a little bit of a teaser to people. And of course, you can get customers. You can actually make money from putting out content and reaching people, and then just, see where things go, because magic stuff can happen. I've just recently made an online course with a comedian in the Netherlands, something I would never have thought about, making an online course with somebody sitting in another country who have never met physically, but it's kind of like a business, but also turned into a friend. So these were just things I've never thought would happen. And the same thing can happen to you. So jump in there, be curious and see what happens, and have fun with it. And yeah. So let's dive into a little bit the do's and don'ts, and which buttons to press, and how to use LinkedIn specifically. But this is the big overview, and I think the outcome you can get from being a good networker. So here is a place on LinkedIn where you can press who has visited your profile. So that is obviously worth going in and checking, oh, who's seeing you? And now I don't have the premium version, which means I can just see the last 5 members. But still, you know, maybe you want to reach out to them even though they didn't connect or follow you, which we'll talk about. So it's always interesting to see who has visited you. And some people maybe don't connect with you, but I've tried that. And then they visited me, and I thought, whoa, that would be interesting to connect with that person. Maybe, you know, start up a conversation. And then they were very, you know, they were super fine starting a conversation. So don't take it for a no necessarily that they've watched your profile and haven't asked to connect. The other thing I want to show here is you can have your profile set to different categories. You can have different visibilities. So 2 of the people here that have visited me, they have put their profile in private mode. Now, I don't understand why would anybody put the profile in private mode. Okay, there could be certain reasons, but why? I don't see many reasons, because what's the problem with having people see that you visited their profile? So I would make a public profile, and then, you know, always have it on public. So if you don't have that, go change that, because I don't really think there should be any reason for you not to have it. So see who visited you and potentially reach out to them, and check this option here every now and then. So here's a little practical thing to do. Now, if you invite people to connect with you, here's just a request to network with me, and another one which I just declined because I couldn't see the value. The person hadn't written anything to me. Plus, it didn't seem like a profile that was particularly interested to me. Now, most of the time, I will actually accept the invitations, but you know, you can get a no. If you don't, introduce yourself. So you should do that always. Just a small little note, and let them know why you want to connect. So being upfront, being honest, that is part of making them know you, like you, and trust you. And here's one I just got recently. Thank you very much. One of the participants here from the PFS Power webinar, which state beautifully why he wants to connect, and he introduces himself. So I think that's, you know, short, sweet. It doesn't have to be like a long thing. 3 to 5 phrases are typically fine. You also only have, actually, I think 300 characters. So always put that in, because also it's about the quality of your network. If you don't really know people, why would you do that? It's kind of like if you go to a physical network event and you just hand out your business cards. What's the value in that? You come home with a bunch of business cards. You don't even know the person. You never really connected with them. It's the same thing here. A lot of people are lazy and just press connect button without putting in the work. And then there's not really a lot of value in it, I think. So take the time, use a minute or 2 to check out the other person's profile, find something that's interesting about them, and so forth, so you can actually connect with them and get the conversation going. Because you'll, first of all, increase the likelihood that they want to connect with you. And the other reason is you get a quality network rather than just a bunch of people you don't know. And I used to do the same thing, but now I would rather just, you know, write them. So here is if you receive an invitation, like you could potentially receive an invitation, and maybe you want to connect with the person, but they haven't written anything to you. So first of all, you have to consider, should you ignore or accept it? And as a good rule of thumb, you do your own rule of thumb, of course, is try to accept it within a day or 2, because the person on the other side might have forgotten that they actually pressed, I want to connect with you, and you kind of get lost. And then if they haven't written anything, you introduce yourself, even if they haven't written anything. Try to get the conversation going. So you could have a script. It could be something like, thank you very much for connecting with me. I see you have an interesting profile, and the area you work in is of interest to me. I was curious what made you want to connect with me. and maybe a little smiley, so it's not like too aggressive, but it's positive tone. But you actually want to know what they're looking for. And if they then don't answer you, let's say within a week, I think what's the quality of that network? If they can't even answer your mail, and a lot of people won't do that, then I think maybe it's time to ditch them, because really, is that the person you're going to be collaborating with? Is that the person you're going to be networking with? I say give them a week. That's plenty of time to answer back. So this is my own personal rule of thumb. You find yours, but it's all about getting a conversation going, and having a question forces them a little bit to answer and think about why they actually wanted to connect with you, rather than just to know, oh, great to connect with you, thank you very much, have a great day. It kind of stops there unless you force it a little bit, and you have to force it in these situations where they don't write anything to you and they're not proactive. So this is if you receive an invitation. Now, if you don't want to do the work with writing and so forth, there's another option here on LinkedIn, which is maybe you don't want to connect with the person, but you just want to follow them. And follow basically just means the chance that their content will pop up in your newsfeed is increased. So sometimes people will just follow me. Maybe Patrick thought, hey, I will never buy anything from you, or it's too much work to start a conversation. I'm busy. I basically just want to follow you. So these are more people you maybe just want to learn from. So another thing is, if you can do both, you can both follow and connect with people, then you, of course, increase the chances even more that you will see their content in your newsfeed. But this is more if you just want to learn things. So let's say you try to connect with them, you write, of course, a note and let them know why you're interested, and they still don't want to connect with you, then you can follow them and still reap some of the benefits. So the follow button is more if you're fast and on the road. The other thing is, on your profile, you can choose whether or not the button people see should be a follow button or a connect button. I used to have the button connect, so people would press and then connect with me. Now I've put it to follow, but you can still connect with people. You just have to do 2 clicks on a button in LinkedIn. So it forces people a little bit more to put in the work to connect with me. I mean, it's still very easy. It's 2 clicks instead of 1, but it's not just that visible. So people just want to follow me. Great, click this button. Of course, I love when people want to follow me, but if they do want to connect with me, put in just a tiny bit of work. So you can consider what the best thing for you is. Yeah. So here, once you then have connected, and I think it's all about trying to add value right away. If you wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, you'll be forgotten. They've moved on. Who are you? And so forth. So try to get, some value right away. One way to add some value to people is to basically like and comment on their last post. So I see this sometimes with people that I connect with. Then they go in and make a comment to, let's say, my last 3 posts, which is, wow, great. This person is actually interested in me. He's taking the time to watch one of my videos or read an article. And of course, it's a little bit of a value exchange. If one person likes the video, maybe you want to go check his profile out. I'm not saying you should do this sort of accounting, but of course, there's a little bit, people tend to comment on other people's posts, on each other's posts. So this could be a great way for you. If the person is active on LinkedIn, go in and check out their posts, get to know them, and be like, hey, I'm interested in you. That's basically what you say. Another thing you can do is, this thing is endorse their skills. In the bottom of their profile, people have some sort of skills, and you can say, okay, can I really endorse a person for certain skills? Well, maybe if you've seen some of their content, you can actually justify doing it. And you don't have to have worked with them and so forth. So that could be another way to say, hey, I'm here to support you. And a third way is really just to look at their profile and think about what kind of people would be interested in getting to know this person. So you have a network, so some people that you could potentially refer them to. and say, hey, you know what, maybe you should get in touch with this person. You should start a conversation here. So the more you can refer people in your network, the more you probably will also get back. It's kind of, again, this exchange. If you have given a reference to a person, then there's a good likelihood that that person will remember you and try to refer you back. Maybe it's just 6 months down the road, it's a year down the road, but you know, the people will remember you if you do this. If you are the person that says, you know what, I'm a connector. So this is really valuable. Maybe you want to have your own Excel spreadsheet where you can say, oh, I know these 10 people in this industry, 10 people here. If you want to do it more methodologically, you can do that. Say, oh, that could be interesting for this person. Another way is basically just to provide a website with some valuable free content. So it's not about selling. You definitely don't sell. This just is a bad idea. You want people to come to you, and if they seem interested, of course, you can ask them, would you be interested in knowing more, have these and these options? But you want them to come to you and show some sort of interest before you would start selling. So don't be salesy on it. Provide some free, valuable content. That's another great way. But you need to sit down and think about how can you actually provide some value to this person, because that you'll be remembered and really increase the quality of your network. So let me just give you an example here of what I call magical stuff that can happen. So this was a post I made, I think it was my last post maybe. So I had a post, and here is David Pullen, great guy, which I've done a LinkedIn Live with, and he's actually helped me quite a bit, referred me to people. So he just referred me to a person here called Thomas. As you can see here, I talked about how not to use PowerPoint, and he is apparently an expert on PowerPoint. And this was a great person to get into my network. We've connected, and now I have another valuable resource to learn from and potentially do work with in the future. Who knows what can happen? But basically, David just referred me to Thomas, which I was happy to do. And so that's a way to do it. You can, of course, do it in the message. You can do it in the text, kind of get that conversation going, providing value. And other people can see, hey, this person is somebody that's trying to connect me to other people. So if I saw like that, I'll be like, hey, David Pullen's probably a really nice guy. Let me check out who that is. So there's right away also some value for you, but do it from a place of let me try to bring value to you. I think that's what LinkedIn is all about. It's all about putting out stuff, trying to help people, and then you help, and then maybe you get something back. Not from everyone, because of course, you can't expect everyone to give you something back, but something will come back your way if you keep giving. We people love to give other people, give stuff back. Like if the person does you a favor, you remember that. Oh, that person did me a favor. Oh, okay. Let me, there's some kind of reminder. So that's the idea of the social network here on LinkedIn. If you do all those things, you get to have a quality network. It's much better to have a fewer people on LinkedIn with quality, people you know, because also when you then do post, people will be like, oh, that's the person I know. Let me comment on it. If you have, let's say, a network of 10,000 people and only 500 know you, then the 9,500, is that likely they're going to comment on your post? Is it likely they're going to engage with you? Probably not, because, no one really knows the algorithm of LinkedIn, except, of course, the people working on LinkedIn. So all the gurus out there that says this is the algorithm, take it with a grain of salt, because, it's their best guess. So, but my guess is that LinkedIn will push out your content to the network, and then to a certain amount of people. And if you push it out to a lot of people that don't know you, they're probably not going to engage with it. Whereas if you have a quality network, there's probably a much bigger chance that you get comments and can start that conversation. And it's probably also just a lot more enjoyable actually to know people in your network. So again, what's the true value of having people connected to you on LinkedIn without knowing them? Not really a lot. So I would always go for quality rather than just connecting with people randomly, like a lot of people do. So I would do that definitely. And here, just a little bit of the ABC kind of methodologically or methods to connect or network on LinkedIn. Think win-win. This is a great principle from the book 7 Great Habits from Stephen Covey. Think win-win. That's one of his principles. Don't think win-lose, or you want to win, but you also want to make the other person win. This is how things will work out well long-term for you and the other person. So, and then I think a B would also be to think, what's the next natural step? Like if you've connected, I've just given you some suggestion how to get a conversation going, right? You want to, see, what can happen down the road, and you need to move things forward. I'm not saying being pushy or salesy, but, see if you can, get a relationship and learn something, whatever that next step is, so you get a quality network. This is what it's all about. Yeah. So a great way to really connect with people and also just message people is you can make a video message on LinkedIn. It's great if you have your phone, very easy, just press the button. You will connect so much if you make a video. People will be surprised. Wow, a person took time to send a video. So you will be remembered, and you will connect so much more. I mean, writing is good, but if you see a person, you hear their voice, this just connects so much more. So you just take up the phone, spend 30 seconds, click it, and say a few words, and say, great to connect with you, and so forth. You are really going to be remembered. I often do this, especially if it's someone I really want to connect with. Then I do that. And you can also do it just when you have them connected. Send video messages. If video is maybe too much, you can also do sound message. It's a little bit faster, a little bit easier maybe. But again, the phone, you just take out the phone. There's a little symbol where you just press, and you can make a sound message 1 minute long. And then if you want to make it even longer, you just send multiple. But this will set you apart. And the person who connected with me here from the PFS group, I sent him a video message. And he's like, wow, I've never tried that. How amazing. I'll try that myself. So you will stand apart and be remembered much more. So I can only suggest jump out, do it, send video messages, send sound messages, so you can stand apart. Oh. Another thing, if you want to push it a little bit, is call them. Just give them a call and say, wow, I thought it was so interesting. This guy here I connected with, he called me up, and I actually enjoyed it. We had a great conversation. So that is also an option. If that is too much and you find that's a little bit too pushy, well, then don't. Then just send them a video message or a voice message, or start with text if that's where you're comfortable. Again, start with where you're comfortable. But, having had a conversation with him, just 10 to 15 minutes on a phone, and be like, hey, I loved your content. I thought it'd be interesting to chat. So I thought I'd call you. I was like, wow, how amazing. Nothing salesy, so that is potentially an option, just to give them a call. But you feel what is right for you. But see if you can, I would say, push your comfort zone a little bit. Of course, you want to be thinking about the other person on the end. It should also be comfortable for them. But I definitely had a good conversation with Jesper here. Yeah. And what could be a next natural step for you? If, let's say you've connected on LinkedIn, you've had a few messages back and forth, and you find this person seems interesting. I think that would be to set up a virtual coffee meeting. So again, you want to make it easy for them. You don't want to try to take too much, because maybe people are like, whoa, video meeting or virtual coffee meeting, that would take a long time. So I would suggest just something nice, short. Here's just a few ideas for a message you could write. We'd love to have a quick chat with you about X. You put in whatever topic it is, or it could be interesting to bounce back and forth on these ideas to see you work in this area. So you're letting them know that you're interested, and then make it, not too long. If you write the time and say, should we find 15, 20 minutes, whatever, then people are like, oh, okay, I can set 15 minutes aside. But if you just, say, should we have a Zoom meeting? You're like, oof, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't know what the person's thinking. And maybe if you're kind of a nice person, like me, it can be hard to say, oh, I got to move on in my agenda and so forth. But if you promise them it's not going to take more than whatever, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and you've had a good kind of conversation, I think most people would say yes to this. So make it easy, make it so that you take the next natural step and don't take a huge, gigantic step, because then there's a chance the relationship will break. It will not move forward. So these would be some ideas to network, because if you've had a conversation with people, you really get to know them well. Here is another thing. Let's say you've tried to connect with people, or you're thinking, hey, maybe this person doesn't want to connect with me, or you're seeing them as someone way up here. Like, why would this person ever connect with me? Super successful person, or whatever it is. A great way to kind of sneak in the back door is to comment on their post, kind of become their little bit of the fan, or comment on a company's posts. And then, maybe if you've commented on a while on a person's posts, then you can then reach out to them and say, I love your content. I think your videos are great. I would love to connect with you. And who knows what could happen in the future in terms of whatever collaboration or whatever it is. But that's a way to kind of get known before you actually reach out to them. You have proven that you are interested in them before you reach out to connect with them. And I'm sure they will notice that. And if they haven't noticed it, you can also have that in your note. I've enjoyed being part of your conversation in your last few posts, and I thought we should connect because whatever the reason is. So this is another way to do it, providing value before you connect. So here's a little exercise I want to give you in order to, and you can tweak it to your world. It's just an idea, it's a suggestion. If you want to make your dreams come true, the best way to do it is to do it with other people. So maybe it could be find 10 companies or people. And I would say comment with value on their post. You could write something, wow, the third tip really stood out to me, or that sounds like a great idea. I'll definitely try it out tomorrow at the office, or something that is with value. Of course, writing a comment, which is great post and a smiley, of course, it's nice to get that. It kind of brings good energy, but that's about it. So if you can go the step further and let people know why that was valuable, or how you could apply it in your life, or those sort of things, that is more valuable than just, hey, great energy, I love it, great, thank you. So, and that way you can connect and get a foot in the door. Maybe you've had a dream for a while to work at a certain company, but you couldn't really get in the door because the competition's hard, or like, who are you? We've never worked with you, and we already have these 5 people who are doing a pretty good job. And maybe they could use a 6th one, but they're afraid to take on another person. So yeah, I would say try to network and be smart about your networking. If it's hard to reach people, then this is definitely a way to do it. Here is another one I just want to mention, is follow up with people. For a while, there was like 5-6 weeks, I hadn't really posted a lot of stuff, which is not what I usually do. I post every single week. I've been probably posting for almost a year, almost 2 years, every single week. But then I suddenly got a flood of clients, so I didn't really have time to make content. And then I was just, LinkedIn can become kind of like a family or business family. And here's one of the people I've connected well with. I was on our podcast, and I was just, I felt grateful that you reached out to me. Hey, Oscar, hope all is well with you. Haven't seen you in a while on here. These sort of things, it's like, wow, it makes me remember her. It makes me feel good about her. We already had a good relationship. But just, the people that you show that you care about people. I'm not saying you should follow up this way with your clients, but you could, tweak it to the person and the relationship you have. Because for me, it's more like a friendship relationship here. Of course, there's also business to it. So I would say maybe you want to make a list of people you want to follow up with and check out. You can also have a list of people you comment on their post. I have that, so I do get, I do comment on certain people's posts that I find valuable, but I also have a good relationship with. So this is a little bit being methodological about it, and, being strategic about it. So that is definitely an option if that fits you. Here is another great feature which a lot of people don't use. It is groups. On LinkedIn, there are groups. You can join up to 50 groups. The advantage with groups is, of course, it's way more targeted. If you join a group, these people will have some sort of interest in that field. So if you then post in that group, with a very high likelihood that people are interested in these and these things. So rather than just putting out your content only on the LinkedIn platform, where, of course, your network is probably to some degree tailored around what you can do and your interest, but it's also going to be a lot of people where maybe your message isn't that relevant. But then you can join groups, be active in there. A couple of good advantages is you can reach people with the free version of LinkedIn. If you're in the same group, you can write them an email for free. InMail, it's called in LinkedIn. So then write them if you need to reach out to them. Otherwise, you can't write them. You just have to connect with them first. So if you want to reach out to a person that you can't reach, maybe you can figure out which groups they're part of, and then you can reach them. And then you definitely, of course, want to post in the groups. And, of course, you want to do LinkedIn etiquette, which is read the rules, follow them. For instance, a very bad idea would be trying to sell something. Provide value. Now, you probably want to be joining two sorts of groups. The first group is a group where your peers are in. Similar people to you, working in your industry, where you can learn from. And then probably you want to have, the majority of your groups is where you can post content that is valuable for potential clients, right? So this becomes more of the selling part. So you have to then tweak and say, okay, how much do you want to use LinkedIn for learning a bunch of stuff? How much you want to use it for selling? I'm not saying you should sell in there, but you provide free content that's valuable to these groups. Let's say I'm in the group here called Network of Aspiring Speakers. Now, if somebody then shared a post, let's say, oh, here are 10 ways to get more paid speaking gigs. Wow, that'll be a valuable post to this group. And then if I was interested in him, I could then go check out his profile and read, oh, this person is really good at helping people selling their speaking gigs. Then, he's kind of indirectly selling. So this is how you want to do it. Provide value in this network, and of course also on the main platform. This is really going to skyrocket your LinkedIn success. Another thing, very quickly, is you can use hashtags if you want to get found. Here are just some hashtags I follow, and I have my own, Ask or Speaks. So you can consider having your own, and if you put that in and people then follow that hashtag, then there's the chance of them seeing your content is bigger. So you can consider putting that in. You can also use hashtag where you haven't made it, but other people have. Let's say you talk about real estate or finances or your industry, then you can put that in, and then people searching for that word with a hashtag will then have it. So for instance, if you were looking for Ask or Speaks, hashtag my post would come up. If you had put in finances, of course, all the posts with finances would then come, but yours would be among them. Another way, if you really want to up your game, you can start a newsletter. This is a big thing here on LinkedIn recently, that you can start your own newsletter and have people follow you that way so they stay within your network. Then finally, another option to increase your network and get a quality network is to reach out to people who liked or commented on your post. There's probably a reason why they liked it or commented on it, and potentially it would be valuable for you to get them into your network, because if they are, let's say here, I've just taken third and second degree of one of my posts where they have liked it, it would be more valuable for me to get them in my first degree connection, actually connect with them, because then next time I post, there's the chance of them seeing my post, liking it, is bigger because they're my first-degree connection, not just second-degree connection. And then, you can reach out to people who have liked your comment or your post and thank them. Say, hey, thank you very much for engaging with my content. Start a conversation. And if you put in the work, you can get kind of like a small fan group. I have some people that almost always comment on my articles, and I'm grateful for that, and I let them know that. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to do that, but I think it's really worth it. So another way just to increase your network and the people you know on LinkedIn is to add it to your email signature. I have one in here, which is great when I send out an email. If people, maybe they don't really know me and they want to get to know me a little bit better, they can then hop on my LinkedIn profile and then connect with me there as well. So broaden your, let the people know that you're on LinkedIn, you're active, and you use it as a platform to provide value and meet new people. Finally, a little pep talk here in the end, because we're tying things together, and soon we're going to have the questions, is make a plan. There's a reason why there's an A in both make and plan. If you don't make a plan, the chances that you're going to get the things done are probably not as high as they could have been. So if you just dream about it, it's probably going to be a dream. But if you plan it, take action, it's going to be reality. And use each other like we talked about. And just remember, this is the long game. It's not like you pick up the phone and call, hey, do you want to buy something? Be consistent, keep providing value, valuable networking, and put out good content and put in the time and effort. Here's one of my friends. When he just started, he didn't have a lot of likes. He didn't have a lot of comments, but a lot of people engaged with him because he's been playing the long game. And I know he's getting clients now on LinkedIn, and really it's helped his career a lot as a solo entrepreneur. So we all start somewhere, and the best time to start was many years ago, and the second best time to start is today. So I encourage you to start today getting these things put together. Yes. And just a quick reminder, update your profile like we talked about in the first webinar, and put out some content and put it in your calendar, especially if it's your first post. Get over that mountain with your first content. With that said, we're jumping into questions. And you can ask questions to all the 3 webinars. Of course, today we've covered specifically more networking.
Super. Thank you very much, Asker. That was really interesting. Just to touch on the groups, if you're not a member yet, the PFS Power has a group on LinkedIn. So if you're looking for some good content to follow, that's definitely one that I would recommend. There's some really good articles and blogs and things in there for you if you're not in that group. So moving on to the questions, we've got some really good questions. So I'll read the first one out. Following the last webinar, I set a target to comment on other people's posts and blogs, but I found that my network don't create many blogs. They just comment on other people's blogs. So that hasn't been as easy as I thought.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people aren't active on LinkedIn. They're not putting out content. Of course, that makes it harder for you to engage with them. Now, you could do, if they have made a comment to another person's post, you could comment on their post. This often happens, and this is like if they put out, let's say, just very simple comment, great post. You could just add, I so much agree with Karen, right? Then you kind of, so that's an option to do that if they do comment on other people's posts.
Super. And I guess the other thing is have a look for some people in the profession that do post blogs and start commenting on theirs, and maybe looking for people that are commenting on their posts and then start making connections with them to expand your network.
Yeah, and that's what I talked about. You want to try to have a quality network. If you see they never post, their profile is half filled, it's probably worth considering, should they be in your network or not? They're probably not being active, and then what's the idea? But you make your choice for what is right and so forth.
And that probably ties very nicely to the next question. I've got a big network, and some of the people in my network I don't know. I just used to blindly accept invites. How do I call it, and should I?
Yeah, I would actually reach out to them and just be friendly and say, oh, we connected a long time ago, and I'm happy you wanted to connect with me. I'm starting to use LinkedIn much more actively, and I can see you're working in this field. Very interesting. What was your intention originally when you wanted to connect with me? And just have a smiley. I wish you a great day. I would kind of like do that and get the conversation going. Nothing wrong in saying, oh, I just accepted it and wasn't that active. It's just being upfront, it's being honest, and I think most people would feel good about that.
Super. And I think this is probably what a lot of people can resonate with. When you accept a connection on LinkedIn, somebody sends you a connection request through, and you accept it, and then straight away you get an automatic email that seems to land trying to sell you something. What are your thoughts on that? Should you just sort of like disengage from that person straight away, or should you go back and respond? What would you do in that situation?
Personally, I would probably just delete him from my network. This is what I do. I don't want to be sold to, and I don't see the point of trying to sell people right away on LinkedIn, because let's say I had a big problem and I wanted it fixed, I would go to Google and find the service there. Whereas on LinkedIn, it's a little bit different. Maybe you have some challenges, some sort of problems, but you aren't ready to buy, but then you see other people posting good content and you're like, oh, that's an interesting perspective. Maybe I could use that. Or you have to move people from, it's interesting, I have a slight problem, I'm not ready to buy, and then you move them up because you show that you are credible, that you're good, and you make them see, hey, there could be value in getting this problem solved. And if you're the person that make them see they have a problem, who do you think they're going to buy from? There's a pretty good chance it's going to be you. So I would probably delete the person from my network. I know that sounds a little bit cold, but that's my style.
Yeah. Okay, another question. I get a reasonable level of interaction and views of my posts, but never seem to get the same level with articles. How would you boost the success of your articles?
Yeah, articles are slightly different. LinkedIn has this weird thing where you can make a post and you can make an article. So articles, as I've understood it, is articles will pop up in other people's newsfeed for a longer time, and they have like their own little separate place, whereas a post will be shown to more people, but for less time. So I think it has to do with the algorithm, and it also has to do with articles. You can write longer articles. I think you can have more characters in them. So if you do want to get a lot of engagement, probably you want to write more posts. But the article can be great. Let's say you want to put it in your featured section where you can really outline a lot of things and go a little bit more into depth. So yeah, this is what happens to most people. You get more engagement on a post than on an article. Whereas you can say the trade-off with the article is you can write more stuff. So consider what's right for you in that case.
Lots of questions this morning. Okay,
great,
the next one again will probably be similar. I've got my own profile, but I also have a company profile. So for somebody with that, this particular person said the company profile has got a practice with 2 advisors. How should they manage the 2 profiles? So what should they post on the company page? What should they put on their own?
Yeah. So of course, if you have a company page with other people, I think you can still post the same content. Most people will engage more with the personal profile because we want to connect with people, whereas a company is hard. There's not like a face to it. So my idea would probably be, see if you can get a face behind the company page a little bit more. That would probably be my suggestion. And I think you would reach more people by using more your personal profile. Sometimes I will help companies, let's say smaller companies, and they're not taking advantage of people in the company using their personal profile to put out content and help the company. So what I've seen on LinkedIn is typically company pages don't do as well. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use it, but I think you can put out the same content. But just be aware, you're probably going to have more success on your personal page. And all of you 3 together, because you're 3 people, you would probably reach way more people by using your personal profile, all 3 of you. And of course, you can still use your company page.
And with that, would you actually put the post on the company page and then the 3 people in that company share it themselves, or would you suggest they actually copy the whole post and just make it as though it's their own post?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Again, it's the algorithm. Most people that I hear from, they say it's better to post original content than to share it. So if it is your content, I would probably just make it as a new post on your personal profile if you're taking it from one of your colleagues or partners, and make it as your own, or you can even say that it's taken from another post or written by, so you kind of have that, but you make it as a new post. That would probably get more engagement overall than just sharing it. But of course, if you take from other people, I mean, if you take it from other people, you want to share it so you directly give them credit. You never want to copy from them, of course.
Yeah, so copy that post, reshare it, or give them
credit. Yeah, because then it seems like it's your own, which is not, and you're not giving them the credit. So, but in this case, it's your content, it's your company, and you have agreed that that's okay. No problem.
Yeah, super, thank you. And noticed our profession seems to use LinkedIn a lot for recruitment. So there's an awful lot of people advertising for jobs in there or sharing posts on their company page. Are there any sort of like do's and don'ts you would suggest to people that are thinking of using LinkedIn for recruitment?
It's not an area I've worked so much with, but I think it's about being, clever, seeing how you can, of course you want to send your application, but is there a way, again, you can kind of get to know them? Maybe you connect with them, video message. Wow, this person sent me a video message. They will check out your CV if you send them a video message and they feel good energy behind that video. So those would probably be some of the things I would consider. Commenting on the company's page, notice that, and then if then reply, connect with that person and say, oh, by the way, great post you made about this, and I just recently applied for this position. The more ways you can hit them, the better. Don't spam them, of course, but make smart ways to connect with them.
Make them aware that you're out there.
Yeah, move things forward a little bit, like that was one of the points.
Super. And very last question for you this morning, was just when you spoke about attaching videos and messages, somebody's just asked, how do you attach the voicemail and video to LinkedIn?
It's very easy. Let me just hop on my LinkedIn profile here, which is a button. Let me just write somebody. I could write to one here that's written to me. So here, this is the phone. Now I'm in my profile. Down here on the bottom, you have this little sign, voice. Can you see that? And there's a plus. So voice, you just press that one and hold it down. You can make a voice.
Yeah, we can just see where you're pointing. So
yeah, so it's just down on the bottom of your message. There's a plus. You press that one, you get to video. And on the right, directly, you don't even need to press a plus. You just hold the button down, and there's a voice recording. So down in the bottom, when you are already writing the message, and for me, it's easier to do it on the phone than on the laptop. You can still do it on the laptop, I think, but for me, it's just so much easier to do it with the phone and hold it up, because you don't need a fancy studio to make a video message. Just the fact that you made a video is more than enough to make them like, wow, he took the time to make a personalized video. Yeah.
Super. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So just to end today, on behalf of the PFS Power Panel, just thank you very much, Asger, for giving us the last 3 sessions. They've been really, really interesting, and hopefully everybody watching has got some really good tips and can now go away and create an action plan. If you have been watching this morning, we'd be really, really appreciative if you would leave some feedback for Asger, just how you found the sessions. They will be, when the session finishes, there'll be a screen showing with where you can leave the feedback, and you'll also get a link on the thank you email. So it would just be really useful for feedback, so Asger and ourselves know the sort of content that you want and what we can do to improve it for you for next time. So that just leaves me to say goodbye. Thank you for listening. And again, thank you very much, Asger, for joining us for the last 3 sessions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.